Yo, what's
There
going
we
on? Welcome
are.
back to Between the Numbers Sports Podcast and Show. I'm your host, Daryl. I got some good buddies with me. Y'all go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Good,
Hey,
Joe.
yo. Hey, it's Joey Stanky coming in from Austin, Texas. Philadelphia. Well, we call ourselves Philly natives, Lancaster County, but northeastern Pennsylvania, and we're still representing.
Yep. Mac, go
Yes,
ahead and let
sir.
us know.
Yeah, and I'm Mac, also from Lancaster County, Lancaster City to be precise. I'm just south of Joey in Kyle, Texas. Diehard Eagles fan, born and raised. Excited, obviously, about this Sunday and to chat it up with Doc.
Yep. And y'all know me, man. I'm from Louisiana. People call me out all the time, but when I saw Brian Dawkins layout, Algie Crumper, I was like, I'm an Eagles fan. So
All it took.
I
Weapon
stuck with him.
X.
Yep. Yeah, so before we get started, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel, help the channel grow. Leave a like, leave a comment. We're going to jump into it. So we're going to be talking about Super Bowl 59, Kansas City Chiefs versus the Philadelphia Eagles, pregame analysis. So right on off the back, what do y'all think the Eagles need to do to bring this game home back to Philadelphia? Mac, you can go first.
Yeah. Bring the trophy back to Philly. Have another parade on Broad Street. I honestly think we just need to keep doing what we've been doing. I know a lot of people are talking about can Jalen have the same kind of game that he had last Super Bowl, or at least in the last game, even. I mean, that was the best game he's had probably since the Super Bowl. But he doesn't need to unless he needs to. And I think that's how we have to approach it is just keep doing what's been working because the Kansas City Chiefs defense, for all the accolades they might have racked up this season in the playoffs. They haven't been nothing for the run against the run. And that's what we do best. And nobody's been able to stop us. And that's the best part about our offense and our approach is you know what we're going to do, and we'll tell you what we're going to do, and we just do it. And we need to do that until it doesn't work. And I think with all that, I don't think we're just bringing the trophy home. I think we're embarrassing them.
Yeah. So another one of my he's my mentor. He's from Philadelphia. His name Raymond, older guy, a Navy captain in the Navy, and he called me today and said every game this whole season, that's what me and him do. Like we'll call each other like on a Saturday or Sunday before the game, and he'll tell me he'll vent, and I'll vent to him. He said the same thing you said, Mac. He said that he thinks the Eagles are the first quarter is gonna be close, and he said he think the second quarter is going to be a little closer. He said, but after halftime, he thinks that the Eagles are going to just bludgeon them and just kill them with the run. Jalen Carter's going to go crazy, and they're just going to like pull away from there.
Exactly.
Stankman, you want to go ahead and give us what you think the Eagles need to do?
Did you guys see that quote from Saquon? And they put it all over the place. And it was after the last game, and it was saying something. I'm gonna butcher it up, but it was along the lines of, "We're proving to the world that we can running backs still matter, and the running game matters, and all you got to do is run it down their throat. Just run the game and punch them down." And that's what they've been doing. Whenever they can't stop Barkley, or if they can stop Barkley, they got Hurts who takes off. And I tell you, they're firing on all cylinders this whole postseason, and even leading up to it, they weren't slowing down. It's been all gas, no brakes. They've made the adjustments they need to. And everybody was, harping on about Jalen. He's not top 10 quarterback. He's not this. Look at the stats. It's like Jalen's focusing on one thing, and that's the W. And he commands the game. He makes his moves where they need to, and he's not trying to get 300 yards. He's trying to get the W, and whatever that takes. And if that means Saquon has to get 35 carries and punch it down the gut, so be it. Or if he needs to throw some bombs to AJ, or, check downs to Smith, he makes it work. And it's so spread out. And that's why besides Saquon, there's no huge individual accolade, I feel, within the team. But that's the whole point. Is there a team? And I tell you, it's not since the 2017-18 Super Bowl season that I've had this much excitement around that team. I mean, even the following year with Foles, I think that's when they went to the Saints. We won't talk about that. Yep. But that was like, oh man, we're gonna do this again, and then it was over. The following season, we had that issue with Wentz and all this Wentz and Foles back and forth, and then I think that's when he got hit in the chest there, within the first quarter against the Seahawks. And
It was
but
hit
point
back of the
is,
head. That was a dirty hit by Javon.
Clowney.
Davion
Yeah,
Clowney.
That was a dirty ass hit. I
Clowney.
was applaud to
Yeah.
Africa when that happened.
Yeah, and
I
it's
was
funny.
Yep.
Eagles fans never forgot that guy
Yep.
doesn't live a second in the city without getting boost.
Yeah.
Never
Yeah,
forget.
that was the year Carson Wentz took that team to the playoffs with just a bunch of nobodies. We had
Oh
a
yeah.
receiver.
Correct.
And
Yeah,
that was the
that was
year. That was the injury year. Everybody was getting hurt, but they just made it work. And then that was when McCown came in. It was a heartbreaking end, but not to talk about the sad things. As like I said, I'm so excited just for how this team is operating, and you can just tell like they are a family out there. And then the media, they're working so good cohesively. The media just has to like start making up drama and issues, like the whole thing with AJ Brown reading the book. They, oh, look at this, but it ended up working out in the favor. Like everybody, the coach backed him up. Everybody, the book's the number one bestseller, and it's like, you know, and I just love it. And I think if there's any team, it's very hard to beat the Chiefs. Reed and Mahomes or something else, but I tell you what, if there's anybody that can do it, it's this squad right here.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big game. You know, if you look at it from the whole picture, right? You know, the tragedy that happened in New Orleans, right, and then you know had the plane crash in Philadelphia. So I definitely think the Eagles are gonna be playing inspired. You know, you got the president of the United States. Oh, what the heck? Hold on. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
My camera went off.
You mentioned the plane crash. They're watching you now.
Yeah, probably. I gotta turn on my other camera.
Watching now. Yeah.
Right,
well,
all right, I'm back.
There we go.
All right, so yeah, you know the tragedies. We got the president's going to be there. Taylor Swift's going to be there, right? I think what the Eagles need to do is just like you said earlier, Joe and Mac. They just got to keep doing what they've been doing, right? You got the number one defense. Jalen just needs to knock on wood, not have any costly turnovers like he had in the last Super Bowl, right? The Eagles was in command and he had the fumble, and it kind of like just I don't know. It seemed to me it kind of had a swing, but you know, no turnovers. Played total team football, right? So complementary football. The offense helps the defense. The defense helps the offense. Special teams help all the units, right? Kicker got to make the kicks, man. He's been struggling.
Come on, Jake.
Yeah, you can't leave any points on the field, right? Can't miss any extra points. Got to kick the field goals when we need to. And like I always say, I coach a little bit of football here and there. You try to end every drive with a kick, whether it's a extra point, a field goal, or a punt, right? You don't want no turnovers. Hopefully, you see more field goals and definitely extra points because that's going to be we scored. But that's what I would want to see. But you know, it's going to be a close game. It's Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. It's going to be a close game, which leads me into the next thing. These referees, right? Now, I would like to think that there's 32 teams in the NFL, the last time I checked, and there's 32 owners, right? And I don't think that the owners are in cahoots for the Chiefs to win it all. But look, me and the Stankman, we argue all the time. That's not here or there. But I like to think that there's not a conspiracy for the Chiefs to win it all the time. But you know, there could be biases with these referees. And like I know, you know, Jalen Carter's a really aggressive guy. The dude has testosterone just running through his blood. And you know, the Chiefs' offensive line has not been the best this year. It's particularly the guards, right? And so, you know, Jalen Carter is going to get him. But when he's sacking up Patrick Mahomes, I hope that he's not. Yeah. If a thumb just touches Patrick Mahomes' chin strap, they're going to say hands to the face. So I just hope that the guys are like homing in on that. Hey, when you wrap this guy up, don't throw him down. Just, you know, you let him fall on you. You know, it shouldn't be that way, man. It's football, but you know, man, like,
he's the superstar.
He's a superstar. And the Brady rule, Patrick Mahomes is the new Tom Brady. He doesn't have the same wins in the Super Bowl, but I mean, shit, he's on his way. And you know, I just think that the Eagles got to play complete football. So what that says, are you guys worried about the referee factor for this game?
I'll start off. You made some good points that I want to touch on, and
I can't say it. I can't say it at all.
no,
I can't say
that's
it at all. Yeah.
Louisiana in you.
Yep.
But good points. I want to go back to that Jalen Hurts fumble because when I told you before we went on that I just watched the replay of that Super Bowl last week because it took that long for me to be able to go back, and I always remember that fumble being the catalyst that kind of just turned the tide because we were about to go up 2 scores, we were rolling, and just kind of an anomaly of a fumble. And when you think about this team, we haven't turned the ball over a damn, except for a Saquon Barkley fluke here, hitting the ground on that actually the game that you were at. And it's that's what we do best next to running the ball is keeping the ball or taking it away. And honestly, I think that's what they narrowed down at the bye week is the team that gives the ball away less always has the best chance to win. So if we don't give it away and we get some takeaways, well then advantage us. And I think, the Chiefs are good at that too. But the thing that we bring is the hammer, man. It doesn't matter if you don't give it away. We make you give it away, whether we're, Peanut poking the ball out or, Quinion going up for a grab. I personally see one of the exciting whites, and maybe that's just a dream of mine, getting some kind of pick six or pick something. Yeah. And do a little dance in the end zone.
I love to see, what's his name? Man,
Dijon?
I'm drawing a blank. Yeah, no, Blink. No, his name Blankenship. Yeah, Blankenship. I like when he danced. I like to see him dance.
Yeah. I need a reason to get one of their jerseys, so hopefully they could do something in there. But I just wanted to double back there because I think that's going to be a huge part of it. Like you said, is just keeping the ball and having the Chiefs not do, I guess what we do, hold it down. But as far as the refs go, I've had a lot of time to think about this one because, as I told you before too, that my girlfriend is a Chiefs fan, been with her for 4 years, so I've been watching this. Watch their games, unfortunately. And it's pretty glaring. And it's kind of like, I guess, how it used to be with Tom Brady. I used to watch some of those games, not really, but I knew that he got preferential treatment. I mean, the tuck rule, the arm going forward, you never heard of that before, Tom, in this playoffs, against the Raiders. But this is almost on another level because Tom didn't act like, I don't know, he didn't flail. He didn't do the soccer flailing like Mahomes does. He didn't do... it's almost like Mahomes puts himself in a place to purposely make things look like it's a car crash. I don't know. It's kind of part of it hurts the game, especially with the refs throwing flags and always advantage Chiefs. It's definitely hurting the integrity of the game, whether it is a cohesive plan by the refs, which I mean, the possibilities of that and there being a fix in the game are pretty. Nowadays, there would be text messages, email, something that you could find to say like, oh, they're in cahoots. But there definitely is a stigma. The refs know it whether they want to or not. And you want to, the emphasis is on the quarterback. And the quarterback just knows how to play Houdini. And he's just, he makes you almost like a mentalist, makes you look like you're hurting him, as opposed to. So with your point with Jalen Carter, I think he's going to have a great game. He's going against a guard who's, a crash test dummy for him. They're going to have to double him, so Nolan Smith might have a great game as well. Joey's got a great stat on that if he does get a sack. But I think that they had to, in these 2 weeks of practice, they have to have been practicing not doing that type of stuff to anybody, the quarterback, after the play is over, anything like that, these dumb penalties. And I think Jalen Carter has a chance to be MVP, kind of like an Aaron Donald was, depending on what he's able to accomplish in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he's playing. Jalen Carter is playing. Man, that dude Zach is playing. Look, the defense is playing like lights out, man. Who do you talk about? Do you talk about Jalen Carter? You talk about Zach?
Right.
Do you talk about Crayon? Do you talk about the exciting whites? Right. Who do you talk about? Right. The defense is playing like a complete unit with his hair on fire, but there's so many efforts, right? Like, I'm excited, man. I'm excited. But okay, Joey, do you think there's a referee factor that the Eagles should be worried about?
Depends on what game I'm watching.
Yeah.
But no, there's a part of me that wants to say, look, like you said, you have 32 billionaire owners that are all together now. Unless people are getting paid to have because when your team's a Super Bowl champ, you look at the finances, the money that comes out of that. So unless they're finding ways to scratch each other's back behind closed doors and this, but like again to what Max said, that's a whole lot of stuff you got to try to finagle and hide. I think it really does come down to the refs are down there on the field. They talk with the players week after week. And to a degree, they probably do have some pressure. It's like, hey, look, this guy's 108 or 200 million, whatever it is. You make sure that they don't rough him up too much. And I don't think it's to the point of so much maliciousness, if that's the right way to put it. But I want to believe that it's all about the let the boys play, call it as you see it, rock and roll. I think just like y'all pointed out, I mean, this is going to be the world's biggest stage now. And the fact that the refs have been in the media cycle about like it just continually mounting up. And I've seen videos where reporters are asking Mahomes and Kelsey right up, it's like, who do you like more, Taylor Swift or the referee or phantom 15-yard roughing the passer penalties? Yeah, I mean, awesome. So it's out there, and so the refs going out there know that whatever they do is going to be scrutinized, whether they're right or wrong or not. And I think they're going to do it right. That what I'm just scared of is it comes down to the end of the game, because you look at Cincinnati and Los Angeles. I mean, Cincinnati had that game in the bag. What was that, 21 or 22? And then back to our guys. I like to say, because everybody went crazy about the holding, and you got to give Bradbury credit. He manned up, said, hey, it was a hold, it was a penalty. The old saying, I always go back to my middle and high school football coaches, to those basic statements, and it was like, if you're in a position that one play is going to be the determining factor of the game, then you didn't do something right. You should have. It should be something, and just like you can't put it's a team deal. And it really comes down to touch on what you guys said earlier. It's another thing that my coaches said. The team that makes the fewest mistakes wins the game, hands down. But after this year, we can say, unless you're Josh Allen or Joe Burrow, because they do everything they can, and just somehow they come up with the L.
And you're right. You're right about that. Like, it's I try not to I try not to think about like the referee factor, but like you said, I think with that Bradbury penalty, you don't call that there, because where the game's at, you know what I mean? You kind of let them play, like they say in the, they play off football, right? There's different. Mm-hmm. There's different. Just like in the NBA, they say, oh, it's playoff basketball. It's going to be a lot more physical. But you, Stinkman, you made a great point when you said that they got to put them away. Like, you can't give Patrick Mahomes a final drive. Like, if you're going to give him a final drive, you need to be up like 14, and they got like 53 seconds left on the clock or something like that, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't give him like a final drive and like you're only up by 7 or something like that, right? So like a 3, right? So, but no, I like you said, also, like I was telling Mac earlier, behind the scenes, before the Super Bowls, like before the Patriots and before the Chiefs last time we played, I go 0 dark 30. So I delete Bleacher Report off my phone. I unfollow sports shows, right? Because I know that everyone wants the Chiefs to win because of the fucking 3-peat, right? They want history. All of the sports pundits, Shannon Sharp, Stephen A. Smith, all of those guys, right? I know that they're just clamoring for Patrick Mahomes. I like Patrick Mahomes. I like Andy Reid. Who the hell doesn't? How can you not like Andy Reid? How can you not like Patrick Mahomes? But when it comes to my Eagles, I don't want to see them be successful, right? And so I go 0 dark 30. I don't know what the hell is going on right now with the Eagles. Well, I do. I follow the Eagles sports media pages, but I haven't seen one report about what's going on. I know that the city of New Orleans has really embraced the Eagles, right? Like, they really embraced them. I seen the injury report, which there's not much going on. I know like Quinyon Mitchell is dealing with laryngitis. Lane Johnson has some illness they didn't say, but I also saw that they was in a weight room today going crazy. I saw Lane Johnson doing some shoulder shrugs. I saw Quinyon doing some stuff. So
nice.
Yeah, they're everyone's playing. So I'm right now. I blocked out the noise. When the game is going to come on Sunday at 5:30, I'm watching the game on mute. I'm not watching it with anyone because like I told Mac, I be wanting to fight. Like when the LSU loses and when the Eagles like don't play good, it shouldn't sit on me. But I'll be having to take my Zoloft for real, man. It shouldn't, you know. You seen Stankman, you seen my Facebook post. Like it shouldn't it shouldn't have
oh
it
yeah.
shouldn't sit on me the way it sit on me, but it does. And I'm not even from Philadelphia, so I can imagine like guys that was born and raised in Philadelphia. You know how it sits on you, but it shouldn't sit on me like that. But I think that this is the Eagles' year. I think it's time that Eagles are going to bring back Super Bowl win number 2 to the franchise. And you know, this team has just been playing lights out since week 4, right?
Yeah.
And you know, so I don't think that there's. I just pray that the referees don't get involved, but I don't think it's a conspiracy for the Chiefs to win. But I just want to say
it's too. I think it's too many eyeballs and too much going around now. Like the refs are human, so they know the noise that's been. It's not like they could shut out everything. You know, they have to know what's being said about them. So in real time, in the game, when a play happens, there's definitely a firewall that they have to go through. That's like, are they going to think that this is fixed? Which is good for us. But then again, if they double think, if I don't throw this flag, they think I'm doing it because it's fixed, So it could honestly, if they don't do anything, it would probably be best aside from some obvious holdings, which happens with Jalen Carter all the time. A lot, yeah. But I think we just had to go in. Honestly, from what I saw I think I told you this too beforehand, but what I saw in the Bills Chiefs game, the AFC Championship, seemed pretty fair up until it wasn't. And it was pretty like glaring. You had a ref that was calling it a first down and a ref that wasn't. And the ref that was over the line was like, "Oh, it's not." It came right back. And it's like, but how is there not a discussion there? How is there not I don't know, a better, they had an overhead replay right away, but then they didn't use that when it came to the review process. So I don't know.
Can New York get involved only? Can they get involved for penalties, or do they only get involved like if someone?
They do get involved.
I
They're
know
part of
every
the
score.
review process for scores. But no, they get involved because there's a lot of times where they'll actually, call it in right away. While, like, let's say you're going hurry up, they'll be like, no, tell the refs, cut it. Which is kind of wild, to be honest. When that does happen, you're like, what are the limit? What's the rules here? But yeah, I don't know. That one kind of. I mean, that was the game, and that's the thing. It feels like they throw these when the game is on the line. One of the first, sorry to go on for Rand here, but watching these Chiefs games throughout the whole season, one of the first games they played, who was it against? Wasn't the Baltimore one, I don't believe. But, it's 4th and like 30. And, fourth quarter, Chiefs last possession, and they throw it deep. And there was a bang play with a defender trying to hit it out of the Chiefs receiver's hands. So like 4th and 20 something, 4th and 30. It was crazy yardage. It wasn't supposed to happen. And they threw a defensive pass interference because he got there maybe a slight second early. And it's like, you don't throw that. That's the game. And just like always, they run out the clock, kick a field goal, they win it. And just like you, that's my fear, that it's a close game. And then either Patrick or the refs will have the last laugh. But I don't see it being like that. Compared to the last Super Bowl against these guys, they're worse. We're better. And we also have the mentality of we lost the Super Bowl and we lost to these guys. And if you watch any of these, and I don't think you have, from what you said, any of the Super Bowl,
I'm in the dark. I don't know what's going on with.
Okay, so they're doing all these they have media day on the first day Monday or something, and so they had like Jalen next to Mahomes, and they talked, and you had Chris Jones of the Chiefs next to Barkley, and then Darius Slay next to something like that. And they all, they asked him a question, they talked. Every Chiefs player was just, full of himself, Kansas City, all this stuff. It was like a game show. And every time an Eagles player spoke, they had a frown. It was serious, eyes to the ground. Yeah, like they all look like Jalen, really, is what it was.
Yeah. I'm here so I won't get fined.
Yeah, and that's what
Like
it is. It's
Usher
all
said at one
business.
time.
It's all
Like
business.
Usher
Yeah,
Remember,
said.
Alshon Jeffrey. That's the best.
yeah.
One of the best pre Super Bowl interviews of all
I'm gonna
time.
be honest.
I
I hate
love
this
that
shit.
one. Yeah.
I just wish we got here on Saturday and played on Sunday. So yeah. To make a long story short, um, I think if you can get a big enough lead, it won't matter about the refs. It's hard to say with the Chiefs, but with this run game and the dominance, and if we get a run started, which we will, then how can you not come in and just load it up with the quick slants to AJ? And I personally think Devontae is going to have a crazy game because he's
Yeah.
on corner number 2,
Yeah.
who's junk. And
Yeah.
and Devontae is a starting receiver on most of the league's teams.
Yeah. Devontae is definitely he's a 1A.
Yeah.
All right, so
That reminds me real quick that you pointed that out. I was watching something the other day or reading whatever it was, and against the Chiefs, his last 3 games, Devontae's put up incredible
Devontae.
numbers, and
Yeah.
on top of that, where Kansas City's defense is not doing well is exactly where Devontae's been excelling this season.
Sure.
So I really think, and plus he's got a chip on his shoulder. He's got a crazy record going right now, like most all-purpose yards or something for the Eagles, or
Eagles.
yeah, somewhere along those
Yeah.
lines. But or postseason, I think postseason yards. I think he's up there for the most postseason yards, and he's still steaming about the last loss to the Chiefs in the big
Sure.
one. So he's coming out with a vendetta. Him and Brown, they all are, but they really got it.
yeah. Hopefully Devontae comes out like Odell Beckham did for the Rams.
Oh,
Minus
Ooh,
the
yeah,
injury.
that'd be nice.
Minus the injury.
Sure.
But if Odell would have never got hurt, he would have been the MVP of that season.
dude, easily.
Yeah.
He was going ape shit. So with that
He
being
was.
said, let me get y'all predictions, right? Like the score. Like obviously, no, we don't know the exact score, but like just throw a number out there. I'll start with you first, Mac.
I'm gonna go 31-17.
Okay.
I think we get 4 touchdowns. I'm going to say 3 rushing, 2 Saquon, maybe 1 tush push. Now, some of those obviously are going to be aided by a couple deep passes here and there, but probably one to AJ on a slant or something else to get that 4th one. And then at some point, our man Jake, the make, is going to. So let's be honest. Yes, he's having a crazy little fluky yips time right now.
He played
He
ice out
missed
versus
it.
the Rams though.
He was, yeah, and that's a tough game.
In the snow.
Tough conditions. It's just he's missed 1 field goal now all time in the playoffs ever, Super Bowl combined, 1, and that was this season. Obviously, the last game, right? And that was a far one, but we got to give it to the man. He got us to a Super Bowl. He made some clutch ones in that Super Bowl too. The one we won, and even the one we did. I mean, he was. I think there's nobody off the street that you would ever get to replace him. I think even next year, maybe you get some competition, but he's our guy. And I think he's going to make at least 1 clutch one to get that score up there because you need at least 2 possessions on these guys. It'd be nice to have like an 8-pointer in there too. Kind of like with Tom, right? Even though we were all shitting our pants on Tom Brady's last heave, but it's like he needed 8 points. Yeah. So it's as hard as it could get. So yeah, 31-17. I think the Chiefs maybe get 14 in the first half, and we blank them from there, man. I don't know. I honestly see this being high scoring for us and not so much for them. We need to take away Travis for sure. Maybe that's a Zach Bond thing, and maybe we put new guy Burks on, kind of a QB watch / little zone area. But yeah, I think we roll. I think this is us. I think, and I've heard this from like some of the big sports guys, like this could go down as one of the most talented teams of all time. All time. I mean, think about it. If you really this is like some all Madden team that you put together on a video game. Like it shouldn't be like this, that we have these receivers, this tight end, these linemen, and then same thing when you flip it on defense. So I think we're going to go out there and assert our dominance. My only example for this is look how hot Washington was. People were bouncing off the wall like these guys. They're probably going to go to the Super Bowl. Their quarterback's dynamic. Remember, that guy could run, toss it with the best of them. He was the hottest quarterback in the playoffs over Mahomes. And we quieted that whole team. Now, I know it's different. I know they haven't won 4 Super Bowls in the last – or 3 Super Bowls in the last 4 years. But It's our year this year.
Yeah. Steak.
I like it. I like it. Hey, we had talked about a lot of it, but the biggest thing that I'm feeling is Saquon. Chiefs interior, their interior line on the defense just is not going to be able to stop our O line. It's going to be, I mean, Jones is a monster. You never want to play anything past him, but they're going to find a way to just punch it down their throats. And if they don't, we still got plenty of other weapons out there that's going to put their secondary to work. And it goes back to the old thing, you know, offense wins games, defense wins championships. We're number one defense this year. They are not doing anything wrong. They are just getting it. Bond's going to be knocking freaking balls loose. It would be a picture perfect Hollywood ending for Graham to go in there and give us a strip sack fumble,
that'd be awesome.
right in the fourth quarter, and just have Mahomes fall down. And if you see that video, I'm feeling it. The last time we destroyed an opponent in the NFC Championship game, we took the Lombardi home when we absolutely slaughtered the Vikings.
Yeah.
And everybody would say, "Oh, Case Keenum, and this is it." That was our underdog year, and
Keenum was playing.
Yeah, he was killing it.
He was playing lights out, bro.
Yep. He was. Just before that's when they had the Minneapolis Miracle with Diggs in New Orleans, it was the same thing. Like, this is Minnesota's year; they're gonna do it. And Foles freaking went to town. It was 38-7. It was even more mismatched score in this game, and it could have even been higher, really. But they just kind of slowed it down somewhat there near the end.
What's your score prediction, though, Joe?
I'm calling. That's what was next on there. I'm going for 41-28. I think it's going to be a tight. I think it's going to be a tight first half. I think the first half's going to be tight, but once we find the chinks in their armor and we go in there, it's just Saquon. All it's going to take is one or two of him busting loose and having another NFL Films, watching him in slow-mo, get a 70-yarder, and then we're going to throw one. Yeah, we're going to throw one off to who is that? Or no, Shipley. We'll give Shipley a run at the end. just to get the little starters in the cherry on top. It'll be the cherry on top.
I made a post. I said, you probably saw it, Joel. I said Shipley looked like Saquon, and people was coming on my status saying no, he doesn't. I didn't even know.
That you say that, man. Listen, when they first got him and when they drafted him and he was doing, I forget where I saw him, maybe preseason. I was like, he looks like a prototype of Saquon. Yeah. Body build, the way he runs, everything. He's obviously good. If we don't have Gainwell, at least you have something. A rookie's kind of scary, especially a running back. I really like Gainwell. He's the yin to the yang for Saquon. He makes something out of nothing. Like sometimes Hurts will check down to that guy and he'll make a 15-yard play, spinning, juking, and trucking homies. He I don't know if you know, he's like surprisingly strong. He's got a crazy squat, crazy bench for the little guy that he is. But we need him in there for sure. I'm sure he will be. There's no way you could probably finagle that concussion protocol,
No, I don't think he's out. He's
okay, good.
Said his previous injury was concussion and hamstring, but I mean he had 2 weeks. You don't clear the concussion protocol until you practice, and so I think.
That's right.
Good. Yeah. So he's good.
Yeah, man. How about yourself? What do you think, Doc?
I think the Eagles are going to win. Actually, I wrote this down, but I think the Eagles are going to win 31-21. So virtually 2 possessions. I'm never going to count out Patrick Mahomes, but I think, like y'all said, I think it's going to be out. They're going to be filling each other out. And I just think that the Eagles are going to, in the second half, the Eagles are going to be able to pull away. Play mistake-free football, going to pull away. And 31-21. And the Eagles are going to be, lifting up the Lombardi. And then, Patrick Mahomes can go salivate and try to get it. But, I think it's going to be 31-21 Eagles.
10 points.
Yep. 2 possessions.
That's not comfortable enough for me. That's why I had to go 2 scores, 2 full scores.
Yeah.
10 points to me is like, well, Mahomes just goes down, he gets the 7, and then we get the it's too close.
Yeah. I'm not the best with like picking, like,
Oh no,
so
how can
31-21. But either way, the Eagles are going to win. So
They win it. Yeah. Honestly, man, I think if you grew up an Eagles fan over the last 2 decades, right? And this is Philly sports in general, you have what's called negadelphia in you, right? Where you're negative because
Yeah.
you get hype, but we all know in our back of our subconscious, it's like, but it could all go down. And we've seen it. Look at last year, 10-game losing streak or whatever it was after being 10-1 or whatever the heck it was. It's a losing streak out of hell.
It was a
And then you got
collapse.
and then you got the Sixers, they'll teach you a lesson. And then the Phillies, like we just lose a lot. And it's unfortunate, but it's hard for us sometimes to see through all that and be like, oh wow, we really have like a badass squad that's like dominant and has dominated every team lately. And this should be no different. And I think when you stack it up, and if the players don't look at it like they're going against Goliath, they just see it as like another player, which they should. There's respect, but then there's also how you're gonna stop us.
yeah.
I think we're gonna roll on them, man. Like I think even our scores, they're all within two, possessions. I think it could even be more than that, but I just gave it 2 for the little ounce of respect that I still have for Mahomes and Andy and Kelsey.
I would love to see it be like that year that Mahomes lost to Tampa Bay when their whole offensive line was like decimated, or
Totally.
when the Broncos lost to Seattle.
Oh, with Peyton.
Yeah, with
Ooh.
Peyton. Like Peyton was on his
Peyton's
last
first
leg
year.
or whatever. But was that his first year or his last year?
Well,
that was his
second year is
first
when he won it.
Yeah,
Okay.
he with like 117 passing yards.
I think he won it against Cam Newton.
That was the Broncos defense got that Lombardi for sure.
First play was over his head, shotgun snap.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It was a safety, wasn't it?
Yep, I was overseas when that happened. All right, so we're gonna move on, still Eagles related, but we're gonna move on to, if y'all haven't seen, Myles Garrett came out a few days ago and said, hey man, I want to be traded, right? And immediately they linked the Eagles to Myles Garrett, because why not? Like you talk about Howie,
Carter, right? And Garrett.
Yep. And then they said the Lions, because obviously when Aiden Hutchinson went out, the Lions defense kind of tumbled, and they linked them to a few other teams. But I want to talk about the Eagles. Do y'all think Howie is going to land Myles Garrett? Now you got to think about Myles Garrett is on the back end of his career. Guy's a specimen. His muscles have muscles, but he's never really played in like a major game. I think he probably only got 2 playoff wins, maybe 1 playoff win. I don't remember. Yeah. But, you're looking at what the Eagles are doing, right? And he's like, man, you know what? I can take less money, but I can go there and win and compete, right? Yeah. And also, you got to think that Huff, right? We're paying Huff for $16.5, $17 million, and the guy probably has less than 5 sacks. And so you put him with the young stud that we got from Georgia. Who's having a lights out year, right? I think he has 6 sacks. Nolan and Myles Garrett on the other side, right? And just let them squeeze those ends, and then you got Jalen Carter up the middle. So do y'all think the magician is going to be able to pull something off?
The Grim Reaper himself, or Garrett's the Grim Reaper. Remember Halloween? He always has the tombstones of all the QBs he sacked. I think if there's anybody in this league, any GM, any NFL staff member, team member that could pull it off, it's going to be Howie. And if you remember on that letter or the post, whatever that he put out, I really, the line resonated with me. It was such a well put line. It was this whole journey, or my point of all this wasn't about taking a trip from Cleveland to Canton. I play this game because I want to go from Cleveland to the Super Bowl, and it's not happening here now. How obviously that organization had potential, and now it looks like it's falling apart. But he wants that ring, and you look at how this defense is firing on all cylinders, and how this team's rolling. Just like you said, he has his flowers. He's had his paychecks. I see him. I see Howie negotiating something that's still good payout for him, but it's not going to be what it would if he went to another team that would give him all the chips, But he's not about that. He wants a Super Bowl ring. So I think he can get it done, and I hope he does. I hope he gets it done. He's a beast.
Yeah,
Mac.
Yeah, not to sound like the Negadelphian that I just told you about, but we got to sprinkle some reasoning into this. So when I first saw that he wanted to trade, and I saw that the Eagles are a potential, you got the Howie meme where he's got the binoculars.
The
Yeah.
binoculars.
So here's a couple wrenches to throw into the situation because I have listened to it in some depth. So yeah, he could want to go to a potential juggernaut like the Eagles, and you got Vic Fangio, who he knows will put him in a position for success. The thing about this is he needs to be traded. He doesn't just get to choose. Now maybe they will honor, maybe they'll honor where he would like to go, but at the same time, that would mean that Howie would have to put a comparable package together that a shitty team who has great picks and players that probably won out like Carolina. Now that's the thing, though. He wants to go to a competitor. It would be pretty awful if the Browns just threw him, over the wayside to a shitty team. So there's both. It's a give and a take with what Myles wants and what the Browns want out of it, because they should take home the bag because he is older. But this guy, I don't know what his injury history is like, but this guy was literally with J.J. Watt, Zach Bond, and whoever else for Defensive Player of the Year again. And I'm pretty sure he's had it a couple of times. And he's actually at the Super Bowl. There was this Eagles radio station that was like, you coming to Philly? And he kind of just looked, did a smile, and then walked away. So I think it's something we like to think about. I mean, obviously him in the same line as Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, and whoever else, if we re-sign Milton Williams. Oh, obviously you got Jordan Davis. Josh Sweat more than likely isn't coming back unless he takes like a vet minimum, which he did this year. He actually left to go try to get more money, and nobody paid him, so he came back. As for Bryce Huff, our DN who never, made it out, he's very young, and Howie just had a quote recently at the Super Bowl that said the story of Bryce Huff hasn't been written yet. Yeah. So meaning like they're going to give him a full shot probably next year to start. Now you rotate DNs, and if Myles Garrett was here, it would be obviously like hit the road, Bryce. But it's if anybody, like you guys said, if anybody could get it done, it's Howie. But I think the packages that other teams would put together would be way more formidable. There's probably a team like, unfortunately, the Commanders that could probably throw in some bones there, and have more draft pick capital and stuff to get them over. But you never know. You never know.
Yeah. Also, I was seeing like the Patriots have the most draft. The Patriots have the most free agency money. Like they got a lot of money, and then like you got they got Vrabel back there, so they Vrabel's a defensive guy. And then you might have to. I also think about the Chicago Bears, right? They got a lot of money too, and they got what's his name? Montez Sweat, isn't his last name Sweat too? Right. Yeah. Yep. And he turned that franchise around like defensively when he got there. And the best way to help a young quarterback is to get him two good defensive ends that can stop the other team and give him a few more possessions or what have you. So like Mac, you're right. Not to be negative, but other teams are going to be clamoring for Myles Garrett. So what you think, Stankman?
I think Howie's gonna get like a massage bundle package for Watson to send to the Browns, and along with some other trade options, draft picks. I think we're gonna get him. I think he's gonna make something happen to get him.
I think Watson's cooked. He's not coming back, man. He blew it Phillies again. He's cooked, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now that's a whole nother podcast there, man. Good God. Houston's my number 2 team, and man, when he came in that first season, coming off a Clemson championship and then coming in, I mean, he just, he was playing lights out, and then he got injured in practice or something, tore his ACL, and had some issues, and then the rest is
he had a history of knee injuries all the way back to Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
I would like all the viewers to know who watch this that I don't have a second team.
Yeah. I root for Cincinnati, not versus the Eagles, but I just I like Jamar Chase, Burrow. I want to see Malik well. It's certain teams that I kind of I would turn on the TV and just when they got to play the Eagles, no, but there's certain teams I just I want to see. And I like CJ Stroud. Dudes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You can't not go against him. But if he playing Eagles, like then fuck him. But I'm just saying.
Yeah,
there you go.
Hey,
All
on
right, so-
Eagles Super Bowl run 2 years ago, I went to the Texans Eagles game in Houston, and I was wearing this. So
That's Jeremiah Trotter. It's Jeremiah Trotter, right?
no,
Or-
56
Chris
long, Chris Long.
Okay. I thought that
That
wasn't Jeremiah Trotter 50. He was 57.
54.
54.
His,
Okay.
and
Half
his junior's got it this year.
Okay.
Trotter Jr. is 54.
Yeah. All right,
And
so
you saw that picture too. Yeah, that was wild.
he was holding him, right? He was holding him.
Yeah, in the championship. Yeah,
Mhm.
he was holding a little baby, and then now here he is.
Full circle.
Oh shit, that's crazy. They was wow.
21 years ago.
They're definitely gonna win. So 40-21. 40-21. Let's fucking go Birds. All right, so look,
40-21. All right, yeah. See, that's more comfortable. I like that.
we're gonna be talking about everyone's favorite team to hate, especially the Eagles. Eagles got to play them twice a year. We're gonna be talking about next the Dallas Cowboys, right? So Jerry Jones let Mike McCarthy walk, right? And he elevated Mike McCarthy's offensive coordinator. So you would think, okay, Mike McCarthy had multiple 12-win seasons. Say what you want to say about Mike McCarthy. I was looking at something. Mike McCarthy has the same record as the Ravens head coach. Yet no one's bashing the Ravens head coach, right? Same Super Bowl wins. Go look at their records, win and losses. It's like identical, right? So you let a multiple 12-win coach leave. He's kind of wacky with the watermelon and the quotes and all that stuff. But then you elevate a guy in Brian Schottenheimer that's never called. He's never been a head coach. He didn't even call. He barely ever called plays. And you make him the offensive. You promote him from offensive coach. And you don't interview none of the hot names. You don't interview Ben Johnson. You don't interview none of the hot names, right? You look at Kellen Moore, but you get impatient, probably because the Eagles kept winning, right? You say, okay, we're just going to elevate this guy. This move was a total. I made a video about it. It was a total control move by Jerry Jones, right? Jerry Jones is almost saying like, you should be grateful to me. I made you the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. It was a total move that Jerry Jones can remain the shadow head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. You know damn well he wasn't going to bring in Dion. Teams have to interview one minority candidate, right? You know damn well he wasn't going to bring in Dion. Dion has a buyout of $10 million. Jerry Jones is cheap.
Wow.
And so, well, you know, Jerry Jones shits $10 million, but I'm just saying, like, he's cheap, right? So they continue to stop themselves. So, all right, fire away, Stankman. What you think about that hire?
I mean, I didn't look too much into it, but I watched the press conference where they announced him, and then they announced this other guy because they're like, "Give it up for this." They clap, and they're like, "Give it up for him," and nobody. They're like, "Yeah." It's just it's cringe now at this point with watching this team, and I've said it because being down here in Texas, obviously, Cowboys fans everywhere. And I've grown up hating the Cowboys. I'll always talk smack on the Cowboys till the day I die. But after these past few years, especially those last minute drives, the choices they made, I was like, I almost feel bad for Cowboys fans at this point because it's a soap opera that's not fun to watch. Like at least some soap operas can have a drama or so. Like, hey, this is entertaining. Like this, it's just every time I see the interviews or I see what's happening or you see the headlines or hear, it's like, what in the world? Like how this is the world's most valuable sports franchise.
Yeah.
They are the number one sports team. You look at the power of, soccer, football around the world. It's double that. And look at what the hell they're doing. It just, so I feel bad, but then I also put it aside. I'm like, hey, because if they were doing good, that means we're not. So hey, let him continue just build that dumpster fire and keep throwing trash on it because it's going to make for a lot of fun NFC East battles.
Mac.
Funny you bring up dumpster fire because I think deep down that's honestly part of this. So Cam Newton, who I don't really take much of his takes because of the hats he wears, but he brought up a good point, and at least I think so. Maybe conspiratorial is that Jerry picks this guy, knowing that they're going to somewhat tank next year more than likely, right? Because you can't get off of Dak's contract right now if you wanted a new quarterback. You might be able to trade him. Let's say they start going downhill. We'll go all the way downhill because you know who's going to be there in the draft? Arch Manning. If you get
Oh,
Arch Manning and you get somebody to coach him, then because next year's coaching tree or hires are going to be a lot. Let's say Bill Belichick does good at where did he go?
he had Tar Heels, UNC.
Yeah,
UNC.
UNC. And so let's see, he does good and he wants to come back out, or whomever is there at the end of it all. But this isn't a win now strategy. This isn't an all in thing like he did last year or this year, I guess he said it. I think, like you said, there's a lot of control. Now he could end up being actually a good hire, almost like how Sirianni was brought in, so that Laurie and Roseman could still have somewhat control over the head coach and what goes on. I'd never feel bad for the Cowboys. They're some of the worst fans ever, and I say that and try to have some reflection on how my Eagles fans might look. But we never had that heyday in the '90s where we were the shit, and then still somehow bring it into 30 years later. So they're cynical. It's pretty. There's one across the street from me, and he's still hating on everything that's happening with the Eagles and how his team is. That's what they hang their hat on right now. Is how profitable their franchise is. I'm like, that's great. Yeah. You guys look terrible to the world. Awesome. I think they used to be the symbol for like America sports, but I have to be honest. I think in the last 2 decades, you can give it to us. Got a fucking eagle. Sorry for the words there. Or you can give it to, I guess, internationally they might look at Chiefs if they follow football. But the Eagles have been making huge pushes over the last, 10 years, Jeffrey Lurie, to expanding us internationally. We're already talking about a game in Australia in 2 years.
Yeah, we playing. I forgot who we playing in Australia.
It's the Rams, which seems almost unfair because we got to travel another 3 hours.
Yeah, they closer. Yeah, they closer.
Yeah, it's 3 hours when you're going 12. But yeah, so I think it's a long scheme. Like, okay, if he does good, then we keep him and we do this. We add on to it. If he does bad, we go all the way tank. We trade Dak, get assets, we get Arch Manning, and then boom, because they're going to need a quarterback after this is all said and done if they do terrible again next year. But as for Dion, they weren't getting him anyway because wherever his son goes, more than likely he's going to go.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm glad the Giants aren't bad enough to get Dion and his son as well. So I think we're in a good position. All we got to look out for is Washington.
Yeah, I think I didn't even think about it like that. I mean, Cam hats are crazy, but the one thing I like about Cam is that his platform is self-made. He made up. That's his platform. He doesn't pull the punches, and so I didn't see that, but that makes sense, right? Because think about
it. Kind of does.
Think about the Raiders. The Raiders brought in Tom Brady. Tom Brady was very influential in hiring Pete Carroll, but Brady's going to be behind the scenes. He can't talk about the Raiders. I heard there's certain things he can't talk about.
Yeah.
He's going to be behind the scenes. He's going to be behind the scenes doing things. So why would the Cowboys not look to bring in Archie Manning when Peyton Manning can walk through the door, right? Hey, that's my nephew, X, Y, and Z. And so Jerry Jones is probably looking over because the owner of the Raiders and Jerry Jones are actually really, really close. They're really tight. Like if you look it up, they're really tight. And so, hey,
they're really old, white, and rich. So they probably go to the same places.
The Raiders, the Raiders head coach, he got that whack ass, crazy ass.
Yeah.
You look like he would be a maniac to party with. You pop some beans with him, some mushrooms, but I didn't even think about it like that. You bring in Archie Manning, and then you got Peyton Manning, you got Eli poking around, you got Peyton Manning poking around, the Manning family,
Yep.
And then that brings more attention on the Cowboys. And Shannon Sharp says this a lot. He does not think that the Cowboys are interested in winning a Super Bowl. He thinks that Jerry Jones is interested in keeping attention on them and lining his pockets. But you make more money to win the Super Bowl.
Right.
So, I seen that starting at the beginning of the season, the Cowboys had issues with their training camp. Their training camp attendance was down. they wasn't selling all of the seats at their home games. And it's going to continue to be. A lot of my friends are Cowboys fans, and rightfully so, right? Like, a Cowboys in the 90s was America's team. A lot of the Cowboys have fans everywhere across the United States, across the world, man. A lot of times their shirts go to the other teams, to the kids in Africa and stuff. Please, I don't, I say that.
Yeah.
You know what they say, so like, because they don't win anything.
They got a lot of Eagles fans out there from the early 2000s too, bro.
Yeah. So they don't care. It's crazy to think that they don't care about. But you got to think, Jerry Jones is not an idiot. We may call him an idiot, but the dude struck it rich. He was a hardworking guy. Invested in all fields. Boom, bought the Dallas Cowboys. The dude is business savvy, right? But you have to think that, like, hey man, you're getting old. He's like 82 years old, something like that. He's in his 80s. I think he got another 15 years left because he's uber rich, right? And he has the money to invest medicine, right? Look at the Bears.
The lady, right?
102. So those guys got crazy money. Jerry Jones will be here for a while. But talking to Cowboys fans, they say, man, Jerry Jones has to go, whether he retire or he RIP, right? That's the only way they think that they're going to be able to move forward and actually get the coaches and get the guys in there that they need to bring them back to the promised land. But yeah, that's spot on. Like, I would see them bringing in Archie Manning, making it a spectacle. He played right up the road at Austin in Texas, and then now he's in Dallas. And now you got Peyton Manning, Archie Manning, Eli, all of those guys like poking around. Now more eyes on the Cowboys. They could steal the spotlight once again. And you're right. I don't think they was going to bring Dion in either. Dion was not going to let Jerry Jones talk to the team, have the radio shows. Because if you look at Dion, and I'm not a huge Dion fan at all, but Dion does the same thing. He's always in the social. He's always trying to win social media with clicks and all of that stuff. So imagine him and Jerry Jones both fighting for clicks, fighting for likes, and fighting for time. It would be crazy. Bro. It would be crazy. So. Yeah, that Mac, that was spot on. You get MVP. You stole the show with that one.
That's why I'm glad I had a chance to, because I heard Cam do it. I was like,
yeah. All right,
spread that seed.
Yep. So all right, save rounds, right? My man Stankman, Marine through and through. He knows about these save rounds, right? So save rounds. Yeah. Anything that y'all want to speak on or elaborate on from all of the topics that we talked about, what the Eagles need to do to win? Myles, Garrett, or Dallas Cowboys. You go first, Stankman.
Yep. Again, I'm going back to it. I'm a broken record here, but defense wins championships. And the stat that I was so excited to share, Nolan Smith has had a sack in every playoff game or every playoff round this season. And if he gets one in the Super Bowl, he will have the record as the only player in the NFL to accomplish such a feat. And he's currently sitting at the Eagles' franchise leader for sacks in the postseason at 4. And I'm so excited for this because it's one thing if you have a number one defense, but your offense is mediocre or run of the mill, but our offense is up top there. So here we go. It's going to be a defense. The defense is going to win this one, and we're bringing in Lombardi, and we're going to grease up the poles and party at Broad Street.
RIP to the kid, the college kid. I think he was at Temple. He fell.
Yeah, he's a sports medicine or something in the medical field. That was a heartbreaking title or a new headline when I read it.
Maybe they shouldn't get on the. Maybe they shouldn't. This out of the sake for him. Maybe they should stay away from the polls. I don't know.
It's a chance we're willing to take, Doc.
Yeah.
All right. Rest in peace. It's actually amazing that something like that hasn't happened.
We're not laughing at. Be clear. We're not laughing at what happened.
Right.
We're laughing at just the fact, like not at the the tragic, but we're just saying just stay away from the polls.
Yeah, greasing polls is a funny thing in itself. But yes, maybe they shouldn't grease them. Maybe more traction. Anyway, aside from that note, I think Joey hit it all on the head, is that defense wins championships. There is a stat that Vic Fangio has never been able to beat Patrick Mahomes in the 8 times that he's played him, yet he's been on teams that didn't have an offense. So you throw that in the picture, and we do. And we have an offense that takes up the time, eats the clock up. And if Mahomes has a 3 and out at some point, it will severely hinder them, because then we'll get the ball, go down and score, and they'll have to start playing catch up. And as long as Fangio doesn't do, the prevent, which I think us as Eagles fans, we love smash mouth football. And when you give
Can we
cushion,
ban that play or
yeah,
ban that defense?
sure, yeah, and it doesn't make sense. Do what got you to this point that you need to play prevent. Um, yeah, I think we have the old school mentality, and that's going to be a hot um, thing to mimic next year. Is just running the ball efficiently, having some good go-to wideouts, and then smash mouth defense. I guess my final thoughts are I'm never too zen when I go into Eagles games ever or any Philadelphia sports event at all. And I'm going to let this one take its course because I think in the long run, past halftime, it's going to pull away. And I just want to be there and act like I've been there before and kind of just have like a nice nod, like, yep, this was supposed to happen. I knew this was going to happen.
This is what it feels like.
I don't want to, because Joey and I celebrated the Super Bowl together that they won in 2017, 2018. And it was obviously a nail biter to the very end. And though that's what you love, I would just love to have one maybe that feels like a old Patriots fan or a current Chiefs fan where you're just like, yep, that's how it's supposed to be. We're the best. So, go Birds. 31. What did I say? 31.
21.
We're gonna win by at least 2 scores.
Hey, did you tell Daryl where you were for the last Eagles Chiefs Super Bowl?
He told me he was in enemy territory.
Oh,
yeah, that was enemy territory. Kansas City, downtown.
So we were apart and they lost, but this year we're together.
We're united once again. That's right. Yeah, the time that they won. Yeah, we got the good juju.
Yep, I think like all y'all said, I won't even be long because y'all hit everything. They have to play dominant football and they have to play well on all 3 units, offense, defense, and special teams. But yeah, I think the Eagles are gonna pull it out convincingly because Jalen Hurts still has that bad taste in his mouth. AJ Brown, Devontae, Lane Johnson, Brandon Graham, a lot of those guys are still out. Slay, right? Those guys got that bad taste in their mouths, and and it's the Eagles. You remember when the Eagles they had the logo, they had the picture with the eagle with the mask on, right? They would call it Robin season. This year it's like let's go,
let's hunt.
Yep, the Eagles are underdogs. They are. I think the last time I checked was, what,
3.5?
Yeah.
No, it went down to 1. It went down to 1 because everybody was betting on them.
Yeah. So,
wow.
I think the Eagles. They're like, I haven't seen any of the pregame shows, but this is a magical ride for Saquon. People have been busting Jalen Hurts chops. You got AJ Brown with the book. I just think that these guys are going to come in laser focused, and they're just going to let all the talking do it on the field. And I think they're going to just look to bully the Chiefs, and they're going to look to embarrass them in front of Taylor Swift and the United States because he's going to be there, right? And all of the celebrities, and they're just going to put the world on notice. And another thing too is that Kellen Moore is the next head coach of the New Orleans Saints. Why not show your dominance and your play calling skills to the Saints fans, right? They're just clamoring to get back into the spotlight because the Saints, when they had Sean Payton, they was in the spotlight, right? They was always going to the playoffs, and they had all these guys. And hey, Kellen Moore put on a show and let the Saints know and let New Orleans know, hey, this is what y'all gonna get in a few months when I actually do the draft and actually call the first play for y'all. So yeah, Eagles 40 and the Chiefs 21.
Doc,
Saquon MVP. You heard it here first.
Yep. Doc, where you going? Where you going when they
win? With Mac. I think I'm gonna roll with Mac. I'm gonna say Jalen Carter.
Yeah.
He's gonna dominate. I was a linebacker all of my high school years. I played a little they call it semi-pro. I played a little adult tackle. I played on Lejeune with the team in Lejeune. Played in a couple other places. I always play linebacker, so I want to see a defensive guy be able to get it like Aaron Donald did. But I just want to see the Eagles win. Honestly, I would love for a defensive guy to be MVP, but shit, I don't care who is MVP.
My last 2 cents I just thought about when you went there, Doc, is that Jalen, right? there's so much criticism about him, even though his stats are ridiculous compared to quarterbacks who don't get criticized nearly as much. But he's a winner. And that's what Nick Sirianni said on the stage, right? Is that all he does is win. And it's so true. When in that Super Bowl that we lost to the Chiefs, even though he had that fumble, he had us up when he gave the ball back to them.
Yeah.
You know, we were winning. And then they came away with 3, and now we had to go down there. He tied the game on that 2-point conversion. You know, he knows what to do. If you have time, go back and rewatch that game, man. Some of the shit that he did was incredible, and that's what he does for his team to win. And that's what we put it in his hands, and no doubts.
All right. So that's it. Y'all heard it here on the podcast, on the show. Eagles gonna take it. I don't want to thank Mac. I want to thank you, Joe. I've been trying to get Joe to come on the show for a while. But, busy man. Both men are very busy, got families. So I'm happy to have y'all on the show. We got to do this again. Like I was telling Mac, I'm definitely going to have a recap of the Super Bowl, and we're going to be talking about the Eagles winning it, and then probably going to do a little bit of stuff about the draft. But, you know, who knows what Harry's going to be thinking about the draft. But, you know, you guys are always invited back to come and talk. You know, I don't watch a lot of basketball. My favorite team was the Spurs. I do want to see Embiid finally get over the hump. You know, he cried a lot about never getting MVP. Now he's always hurting. And I don't know, but you know, I don't talk a lot about basketball after Tim Duncan retired and kind of Kawhi said, "Hey, I don't want to be here anymore." I kind of just say whatever. And every now and then I watch LeBron because I mean, you know, the dude is, you can't deny his run or whatever. But hey, I would love to have y'all back on the show. He popped out. I'd love to have y'all back on the show next time. And appreciate you, Stankman. And I'll let Mac know behind the scenes. I appreciate it.
Next time you see it, we're gonna have an X right here.
Yep. Yep. And that little logo, that little banner at the bottom is gonna be red. That red line, hot green, the same color as my banner right here, the Super Bowl banner for this year, 2025. All right, man.
I like
appreciate it. And to the fans out there, as always, if you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe, and leave a channel and leave a comment. Let me know what y'all think is going to happen in the Super Bowl. And until next time, I'm out.
All right. See you, brother. Go Birds.
Yes,